Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday night, March 31st, and I am doing this for the first time in several weeks, partly because of my travel schedule, partly because I have to admit it, I didn't get quite the reaction or the viewership I had hoped we would get when I did this at first, and if something isn't working, I try to do something else. But as we go into week 5, I think it's important that I speak to everyone and let you know what's coming up and let you know what the assignment is for this week and how this week will be different, okay? And precisely it's because you have in the unit this week what I have termed the midterm exercise. It's not an exam, it's exactly that. It's an exercise. It's something for you to work on. It's an assignment to use some critical thinking, some creative thinking, some knowledge that you've gained, some knowledge you may want to go out and hunt down, and literally put your thinking cap on and I think answer a dilemma. Not so much answer a question, but give an opinion on the way you see something that might play out in the real world. And actually we see something playing out, we probably see it in real time every year about this time. We are in this last week of March, early April, and we're coming to the end of the NBA season. And everything we see, the Lakers are reporting, LeBron James is not going to play the rest of the season. We have no hope of making the playoffs, so we're just not going to play it. We've heard controversies for many seasons now, not just at the end of the season, but throughout the season about the concept of tanking, right? Losing to win, so to speak, right? We're going to get a better draft choice because of what we can do. Well, I'm presenting you with this little exercise, which was actually came up with it several years ago, and one of the reasons I do keep using it is because it was actually commented on by an actual NBA owner who, through an interesting set of circumstances, found out about what we were doing in the class and said that was a great question and that it was really an interesting one, and I will present to you next week what his answer would have been. But I can tell you right now the question was built ironically around his team, and then I didn't know at the time that he would become aware of the question. And so to give you an example of the thinking I used when I wrote it, when I wrote the question about, as I said, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was thinking about the Washington Wizards, a team that at that time seemed to be in that situation every year. And the situation is this. Here's your assignment. You're to think about this from a business and economics point of view. Not from a basketball point of view, not from a fan, not from a I'm rooting for this team, not from your fantasy league or anything like that. You're to think of it as if you were the owner of a team. Not necessarily the Wizards, but there are teams in this situation this season right there. Go look them up. And the situation is this. You got about 10 games left. You could try to get that 8th playoff spot, 7th or 8th spot. Face off against the number 1 or 2 seed in your conference. Maybe get a short stay. Maybe get an upset. Who knows? Or you could just tell the coach to shut it down, shut down the veterans, play the rookies, tank the rest of the season, go into that last week knowing that you're just going to position yourself for a better pick, hopefully a better pick in the lottery. Well, it's not as simple as it used to be because the lottery's weighted now. Didn't used to be. The lottery is a little different in structure. But the whole idea is, what would you do that is best for the economic and financial and business strength of your franchise? Not just this season, but every season going forward. Remember, one of the things we've been talking about is building the value of a franchise, not just necessarily profitability. I think that's shown through in some of the readings, and hopefully you've been doing them. And I would certainly urge you to look at the readings that I've provided for you this week, especially in that section with the articles on the market for teams. because market has something to do with this. So the question I have for all of you is, what would you do? How would you do this? Now, answer is totally up to you. I don't say there's a right or wrong answer to this question. I do say the real thing I'm looking for is some good analytical business and economic thinking. I'm looking for more than a cursory answer. As students in many of my courses often ask me, how long should this be? The answer is long enough. Make your point. If you only do 1 or 2 pages, this is the way I look at it. If you only do 1 or 2 pages, you're not trying. If you do 10 or 12, you're probably filling it up with a lot of extraneous material, shall we say, that doesn't need to be there. So I want a good, solid effort. I want you to think in terms as if you were the owner of the franchise. What does this mean to you, and how do you do it? And in order to concentrate on this for the week, you'll notice there's no discussion board. So your only deadline this week is to read this material, work with it, and get that paper in by next weekend, next Sunday night. It's pretty simple. I think the question is straightforward, but if you do have any questions about it, I certainly ask you to contact me, and you have several ways of doing that. And as I said, this was endorsed by the owner of the Washington Wizards. And by the way, he was also and is also the owner of the Washington Capitals, and he talked too about applying the principles of this question to his hockey team as well as his basketball team. So take a look at it. Take a look. Pick a case from reality right now, and tell me what you would do. Remember, you're not the coach. You're kind of a consultant to the owner. You are the owner. What are you going to tell your coach to do? How do you want this season to play out? Tank or win? What's the rewards? What's the balances you have to think about? What does the future look like? What are the values that you're trying to create? And how are you trying to benefit your franchise in the market you've chosen to play in? I think it's going to be a fun assignment. I think you're going to enjoy it. I do expect a lot of rigorous work from everyone, and I'm interested in seeing the results. So please make sure that if you have questions, as I said a moment ago, please ask me, and good luck with it. No discussion this week. Let's go ahead and get this done. Okay? Thank you very much.